Not yet.
Not yet.
No, it's on. It's live.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. Good evening. I call this Thursday, May 28th, 2026 meeting of the Plastow ZBA to order at 6:31 PM. Roll call, please. Shay?
Michael Murray,
Present?
Brian Lebrecq,
Here.
Jim Unger,
Here.
Jason Orsini,
Here.
Teresa Kane.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Jason, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, has everyone had a chance to review the meetings from the April 30th meeting?
Yep. Yep.
Is there a motion on the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Are there any changes that anyone would like to make?
Just minor change. My last name spelled correctly above, but throughout the document it's missing a C. Not necessary to change at this point. Moving forward, that's all.
I can fix it pretty easily.
All right, that's fine. Either way.
Being nothing else, Shay, would you please call the roll?
Michael Murray,
Yes?
Ryan Lebrecq,
Yes.
Jim Unger,
Yes.
Jason Orsini,
Yes.
and Teresa Kane.
Yes.
All right. Vote is 5-0-0. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Shay, would you please read the meeting procedures?
Got it. Each public hearing will be opened in turn. The applicant will present their case, the board will question, and then the hearing will be open to the public for comment. Once everyone who wishes to be heard has been, that public hearing will be closed. Once a public hearing has been closed, there cannot be any additional input allowed. The board will immediately deliberate on that application before opening another public hearing on any additional applications. There could be times where applications that are so interrelated that the chair may decide to hear them simultaneously, but each will be deliberated separately. All motions regarding relief will be made in the affirmative to grant form for clarity and consistency. The format of the motion should not be considered indicative of how any member, including the maker of the motion or the second of the motion, might vote. Written notices of decision will be sent to the applicant and made available for public viewing within 5 business days. Per the New Hampshire RSAs, if any party of standing feels that the board has erred in their decision, they have 30 days to request for rehearing. No permits will be issued within this 30-day period. The board reserves the right to continue their deliberations on any matter if they feel they need to consult with legal counsel. All decisions will be made in accordance with the New Hampshire RSAs.
Okay, Shay, would you please call the first case?
Number 26-01, a request from Chloe Groudis for a variance from Article XVI, Section 220-108.1 to allow for a 714.8 square foot roof-mounted solar array of 15.3 kilowatts. The property is located at 3 Crystal Hill Road, Tax Map 5, Lot 1, in the LDR zoning district. The property owner of record is Groudis Family Revocable Trust, Peter and Aaron Groudis, trustees.
Okay, thank you. Will you please step up, have a seat at the table.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Chloe. This is my dad. He lives on 3 Crystal Hill Road. That was the house I was raised in. I'm also his solar representative, so I've been helping him with this project, which is good because I don't think another representative would have gone to this much trouble for their homeowner. So definitely trying to just get him the power his house needs to operate.
I recently attended, or I attended the most recent zoning board, or no, sorry, the energy committee hearing. I think it was May 5th. And they are looking at revising that ordinance anyway, because there's some languaging in it that strongly suggests it was intended to work for ground mount. Thank you. Do I need to push it or just, is it fine? Okay. Okay. It seems like the language implies that that specific part of the ordinance was intended more for a ground mount system than a rooftop system. In the first sentence of the ordinance, it says that the reason is to prevent eyesores, which I would understand a 500 square foot for aesthetic reasons for a ground mount. But for a rooftop, my dad's house, we have 700 square feet of usable space. So it's just preventing him from utilizing his whole roof. And honestly, like, using half the roof versus using the whole roof aesthetically does look better in practice, because the panels tend to just blend in with the roof versus only being able to use half of it. The 10 kilowatt limit is also not very up to date for a modern household of that size. I work with a lot of homeowners. My job is literally to look at their energy bills, see how much energy they use, and design solar systems that fit their household needs. So 10 kilowatts is a pretty low limit for modern usage anyway for a normal household. And I did bring it to the Energy Committee's attention so that they're also going to change some of the limitations on the ordinance, because there is a revision to the New Hampshire state law, Chapter 672, that does state that installation of solar and renewable energy systems shall not be unreasonably limited by use of municipal zoning powers. And so there is the state wants the solar systems to go into. So I think they're going to be revising that come March anyway. Not only the languaging that made the rooftop limit or the ground mount limit sound like a rooftop limit, but they're also going to be updating some of the limitations anyway because of that revised state law. So we were just hoping to get that now for this current project to avoid the need to add on. And it ultimately just costs the homeowner a lot more in the long run, because he'll be obviously saving a lot more not having to pay it to Unitil.
Okay, thank you. Now, we'd like you to go through your application. There are 5 key points, to be made in granting a variance, and all the points have to be met. Can't be 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. It has to be 5 out of 5 before an approval is granted. So could you please, just go through and read your application to us? You have
Yes.
that handy?
Let me pull it up. Okay. So the first question, do I state the reason for variance
Yes,
request?
Yeah, state the reason for the request and then go through the criteria.
The proposed variance will not be contrary to the public interest because, excuse me, the proposed rooftop system, it's residential and it's still located entirely on the already existing single-family home. It does not create a threat to public health or safety or any aesthetics of the town. So it will not be contrary to public interest because it's just the difference between utilizing up the whole roof space versus not. The spirit and intent of the ordinance is still preserved because the installation still remains a standard rooftop mounted residential solar system. It doesn't create the type of large scale ground mount or commercial usage that the ordinance was intended to regulate. It's still a regular household energy system. There is substantial justice in granting the variance because granting relief would allow reasonable residential renewable energy use that's in compliance with the revised state law 672. It poses no harm to the public. Denial would reduce economic viability and the efficiency of the system to the homeowner. The values of the surrounding properties will not be diminished because the proposed system is consistent with modern residential development patterns and common around the New Hampshire area. Limiting it at 500 square feet just prohibits the use of the full roof. Literal enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship. No fair and substantial relationship exists between the general purpose of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property because the proposed installation still remains a residential rooftop-only system in scale and in use. Relief can be granted without disrupting the general purpose of the ordinance. The proposed use is a reasonable one because it is a standard rooftop-mounted residential solar system intended to offset normal and anticipated household electrical consumption in modern homes.
I'm not that familiar with the systems, but I guess one question I have is, what is the weight of what will be placed on the roof of the house? Is there any structural risk to the building?
It's about, it's like 40 pounds per panel nowadays. And Sunrun, our company, they do a really vigorous inspection of the house. They have someone come out to inspect the structure, and we won't install on homes that don't have a structure of, I think it has to be at least 2x10 rafters in the attic. So they look at all that. And if it's like 2x6, which is common in houses older than the 1980s, we will disqualify houses for structural problems, but they always inspect it because they warranty the whole roof and everything. So if something went wrong, it'd be on them.
Okay.
Just so we're clear, because we don't have a diagram of the system, it's 100% within the outline of the roof. There's no overhangs, nothing coming off the roof footprint.
Exactly. Yep. And it still takes account for the fire safety margin. So there's still space that the town requires for the firemen to get around. The only limitation was just the 500 square foot aesthetic concern.
It's tough to see from the picture. Are they like low profile?
They are low profile. They're triple black too, and they only sit like 2 or 3 inches off the roof.
Okay.
So they're definitely a lot more aesthetically pleasing than some of the older systems I've seen where you can really see the grid lines. All Sunrun systems come with a skirt on the bottom, so you can't even see the mounting brackets.
Okay.
My dad's roof, it's still really good condition, so the shingles are darker, so the panels will really kind of just blend in with the shingles the way we have it designed.
Looks like you have how many panels you actually, is it like 6 panels?
Total?
Yeah, it looks like from the picture before and after. Looks like from like 6 separate panels. Is that kind of what it is, or more than that?
I'm not sure the number of panels they downsized. I know they had to downsize it to 500 square foot, and I know it went down to 9 kilowatts.
Now, unless I'm reading it wrong here, it says that the square footage doesn't apply to a roof-mounted system.
Is that on the zoning ordinance?
I was going to ask the same question, Jim. And I read that. So why would she even need?
She needs a variance because of the output. The output's also
Correct.
larger.
So that was going to be my next
Right.
question. Why is 15, more than 10? I know you said that the Energy Commission said that they're going to change it in March, but what happens to the next applicant that wants 20? So what's the difference? The average house is about, on 10 kilowatts, 14 to 15. So why do you need 15 as opposed to 10?
That's just how much power the house uses. So that we design the systems based off of their past usage for the year. Usually like the 10 kilowatt limit, if it was like a smaller house without a lot of people in the house, like 10 kilowatts would be standard. But for a modern home, my dad has a pretty large house. He uses electric heat. He wants to get an electric vehicle. And there's a lot like supporting and encouraging people to switch to electric heat and electric vehicles.
Right.
So that's why a lot of the laws with solar have followed that, and why New Hampshire doesn't want people limiting the solar size systems, because it should be designed to encourage people to go and use more electricity and get away from
Do you
other
know what the
sources.
current use is for the kilowatts in the house?
Average.
Yeah.
Probably around 13 to 15. I have some houses that use over 20,000 kilowatts, but that's usually only if they have a pool, a hot tub, electric heat, But
I
more and
have
more
all of that
houses
and I
do.
don't use more than 10.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking. It seems like if that's the limit on it, 10, and we haven't changed any of that.
I guess the question is, the main concern was always the size of the system.
Correct.
Why are there limits on output unless that's possibly
Well, if you
just
look at it,
what that average size system used to
goes
be able to put out?
right. And it's funny how it changes from 10 to a higher kilowatt with nothing in between. So I didn't understand that on the definitions.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, we weren't involved in making the
Right.
zoning regulations, but I'm almost thinking at the time they did, they said, what's the average output for 500 square feet? And the answer was 10 kW.
Right.
But, with solar not being a new technology, but relatively new compared to, the wires we get our electricity through, I'm sure there's been increases in efficiency over the years.
Yeah.
So it's quite possible that now they just put out more than they used to. I don't know.
Yeah, they did. In this case, it was 500 square feet actually only limited us. It limited us to only 9 kilowatts of power. So it was kind of actually a disconnect there where because of the 500 square feet, we actually couldn't even get 10 kilowatts of power to get that max.
Yeah, I'm not really
but like
sure
your
why
point,
it's limited because it doesn't change how it looks. It doesn't, the more green energy you can get, the better.
Yeah, the only thing I
Not-
could think of is if the output limit was put in place to prevent people from trying to make extra credits to sell back from the grid. But that's not the case here. That would nowadays 10 kilowatts is less than what most homeowners use.
So you mentioned electric heat as well, like mini splits, or
Yep.
because a lot of houses are going to mini splits.
So can the house not run on 10 kilowatts? Is that what you're saying?
Yep. He would need to keep buying power from the utility grid, which just means he's wasting space on his roof that could be producing electricity and making money and taking stress off of the grid. Instead, he'll be putting more stress on the grid by pulling power from it. So it makes the system less efficient for kind of all parties involved and all the people it's designed to help.
Are you looking for it to be, you're going to use that completely, you're just using it to supplement it?
What do you mean for the electricity?
Yeah.
So we're looking to be able to completely cover the electricity with solar.
Okay.
So on the definitions of solar collection system sizes here, every other definition, the whole section seems to be pertaining to ground mount only.
Right.
That was the biggest thing I kind of took away when I sat in on the energy committee hearing was that there's literally one sentence where if it, on the first page of the town ordinance,
Under small
it's,
system.
yeah, under roof mount, first page, point A on the bottom section, under solar collection system mounts, point A, roof mount. The last sentence where it says roof mounted portions shall not be included if the system is made up of both roof and ground mounted systems, the roof mounted portion shall be excluded, which that sentence doesn't really make sense. And they were saying that there should have been a period between included and if, which makes the whole intention read differently. So I think it was kind of just
I think
getting a little mixed up.
the intention is to not have a ground mount system over 500 square feet
Right.
at a residential property.
Yes, that's what
But
the
I'm
energy
thinking-
committee said was that it was really intended for ground mount, the limitation. It wasn't intended for a rooftop.
Right, so that someone's not filling their entire yard with
Yeah, they end
ground
up
mount
with
solar
with a billboard right
Yeah.
in their
or
front yard.
whatever,
Yeah.
But
which wouldn't bother
that
me,
doesn't
but
seem to be the
does bother
issue.
others.
The issue is the 15.
But I think that whole 500 square foot, 10 kilowatt limit was meant to be for ground mounts, and there
Right.
wasn't really meant to be any limit for rooftop. And if there was a limit for rooftop, there'd have to be justification on why that limit now all of a sudden becomes a public safety concern because of that New Hampshire state law regarding solar, where you can't limit the system size for aesthetic concerns. It has to be for a valid welfare concern or public safety concern. And so my question for the energy committee was also where did that 10 kilowatts come from? Why all of a sudden is 15 kilowatts a problem and 10 is fine? It really was just for aesthetic concerns, which again, like you were saying, Jim, that's a really good point that the output shouldn't even matter if the limit to begin with was 500 square feet. And I have the picture on my iPad too. I didn't know if you guys would have it printed with my application. But it really is just the difference between the whole roof being utilized, just the front of the roof, versus half of it being utilized. So honestly, aesthetically, it looks better too.
Looks like the larger system that you're desiring has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 more panels than the smaller system.
And I don't know if it's even relevant, but our company did change the panels we're offering slightly. So I think his system is, at the end of the day, it's going to come out to about 9 more panels. And like it'll be I think it'll be like 13 or 14 kilowatts instead of the 15. So because of our company's limitations, we already kind of had to downsize the poor guy. So we're trying to just get him as much as we can with what we're working with.
9 or 10, yeah. Looks like the left side of the roof has 1 more on the larger system. The right side of the roof has,
Are batteries part of this?
It can be. This specific project isn't coming with a battery.
It never will.
I don't know what he plans down the road, but right now there's no plans for a
That was gonna be
battery.
my other question.
11,
Is
so
there,
maybe 12
can
more,
more panels be added in the future?
whatever.
So there can be more panels added in the future, but it poses the risk of it being more of an eyesore because we could not have the same type of panels. And if we have 2 different types of panels, it can look a little wonky. It also just is a whole separate construction project, which could lead to like a whole other set of issues. And you have to have the guys up on the roof a whole separate time. So it's usually just a lot cleaner to just be able to do it all at once. And we also, just again, to put the 10 kilowatts into perspective, our add-on minimum in New Hampshire is 4.5 kilowatts, and that's just in an add-on system too. So sometimes homeowners run into the issue of now they have to buy more power than they need because they waited to add on, and you have to add on a minimum of, it's either 12 panels or 4.5 kilowatts. So just to put into perspective too, how that's not a lot of power. That's actually our minimum just addition.
Is this net metering?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions from the committee?
I'm just looking at my notes
Okay.
here.
They don't have anything else.
So this diagram that you gave us was in DC and as opposed to AC. Were there any losses? So on here, you
Yeah.
have, 15.3 kilowatt DC as opposed to the AC. So is there any losses? What's the percentage of the loss?
So you're talking about the transmission. So that's already accounted for in the kilowatt estimate. So the number you see is what the homeowner
Would be,
leaves with. Yeah.
okay.
But that also too, like there could be a year where it's cloudy or we have a really bad winter like this one, and it could get less than that. So that's another reason why people tend to like to max out their spaces, because New England weather can be unpredictable. So getting as much solar as you can helps you through the winter.
It's kind of my questions.
Okay.
I mean, the only concern that I do have is that if we do the 15 kilowatt now, what are we opening before it's changed going forward? Because I know the planning board has stuff in front of them to change things on some of it. So that's my only concern. As a board, do we want to open that now?
That's what we deal with on every single variance we do.
Yep, nope, I hear you, Jim. I hear you.
That's what we do.
I think that it's,
Because, I mean, just technically, it doesn't make sense to limit output.
Yeah.
I can see limiting size, because you don't want billboards in people's front
Right.
or backyards.
Right.
But limiting output, I mean, if some company came out and said, oh, we invented this new solar panel that looks the same, but puts out 50% more,
Right.
I don't see it being a harm.
And in the way that it's written, it's not, I guess that was my first question. Why are you even here?
Just for the
other than
size.
For the 15 kilowatts, because it's
Right.
not part of the definition for roof.
Yeah, I could understand the concern if it was a ground mount and then everyone wants
Yeah.
a ground mount now,
Yeah.
but for the roof, people won't even realize that we got this variance because it'll just look like a normal project. It won't really buy any attention. And I know the Energy Committee is planning on changing that ordinance come March anyway. So my plan, like as a solar representative too, is gonna, no offense, I didn't feel like going through this whole process again anyway. So if I have customers coming to me in Plastow, I would recommend they wait until after March if they want a
Yeah,
bigger
and that's my
system.
only concern.
Yeah.
Is what you just stated, because then if we do it for one, and whether it's
I'm really
you or
here as his
Sal,
daughter too. I would
No.
literally never go to this much trouble for just any
Yeah.
homeowner or any customer.
Right.
If they were nice enough, then sure. But yeah, now that I know this about Plastow, I wouldn't. I'm not going to be really out advocating until I know it's lifted in March. But for my dad, it would be, if we waited, it would be, our prices normally go up and every new year. So for him to risk waiting, it could just be a really expensive choice for him.
And I don't see how the output affects anybody.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't see how anyone would have an issue, in my opinion, have an issue with it, because I get the size and if it's an ISO or whatever, but as far as the output, that's really not affecting anybody. Your neighbors, it's not affecting anything. So to me, I don't see an issue with it.
I don't think anyone will even know this happened. They'll just see a regular solar system going in
Right.
as usual.
Because nobody really knows the
Right.
output. I inspect buildings for a living and I look at a lot of solar. And one of the things we want to find out for replacement cost is the kilowatt size. Half the homeowners don't know. They ask them, they say, oh, do you know what size your solar system is? They're like, I don't know.
I know, it's real. People don't know how much power they use. They don't even, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
You're good? Okay. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone speaking in favor of the application in the audience?
The guy whose house it is.
Would you like to,
Well, I just want to make a couple of points.
could you give your name and address to?
Sure, I'm not very familiar with this. My name
No.
is Pete Krutis. Address 3 Crystal Hill Road, Plastow. One point I want to make is the fact that, to your point about the size versus kilowatt hours, depending on when that was crafted, panel efficiencies has doubled in size in the last 20 years, from 150 kilowatts per panel to 400, 450. So I think that's probably, we're fighting a math problem here. So I think this is stated from that perspective. As far as power usage, that's the max power output, depending on sunny weather and perfect conditions. It's New Hampshire, you guys saw it as the other day. So, typically these panels, these systems don't generate nearly as much as this. So we run right on the edge, and it's kind of limits me and other people in this situation to, how much stuff can they take off the grid. If I add an EV, I'm adding to power consumption, tax the grid a little bit more. I want to get off oil heat further than I already have. I can't, so I ended up paying probably 3 times the cost of straight electricity rates that generate manual. So that's one of the big driving factors. And I think one of the driving factors for residential solar in the United States is try to put as much solar on people's roofs as possible without having to create giant solar farms. So the better we utilize people's rooftops, the less giant eyesores we have out.
Yeah, definitely encouraging rooftop solar helps us not have a million big ugly solar fields everywhere. That's a good point.
So I'm hoping we make progress on changes in the market to this, power output.
Well, it doesn't make sense with what they have right now. I mean, I think if my memory serves me correctly, it goes from 10 kilowatts to, I think, 100, with nothing really in between. I could be wrong on that, but it was kind of a crazy thing that I read.
I think somebody just calculated what the panels were at the time and said 500 equals this, and they do that.
Yeah.
I think that's why it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It goes up to 1 megawatt.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it was. Yeah, isn't that like 100? Yeah. You know, so what's in between that?
I'd be curious to, we probably don't have that data, but I'd be curious to know how many building permits have been. We have a new building inspector. Every inspector is going to interpret things differently. Not saying he's right or wrong, or the previous one was right or wrong, but I'd be interested to see how many are already over 500. I bet you there's some that.
Oh, I'm sure, well, I don't know, I might have that, I might have some of that data.
And to answer your question about, maybe this isn't prolonging this, but can the answer is probably no, but based on our vote, say we do vote to approve, maybe, can the building inspector utilize that information as precedent
No,
for a future?
everyone would have to come in
For
for
the
variance.
Until it's passed.
And we can also add,
Yeah.
we could also add conditions if we wanted to. We could add the condition that they're not allowed to expand this system unless the code changes and allows for that size. We can add anything we want. We just want to put it on the motion.
Because that's my concern. If that, what happens to the next applicant? I don't have any concern with where it's going, the 15, 25, whatever you use it for. But if we can add the condition until this is passed, maybe that's what we do in the sense of preventing somebody else coming in. Because what if the next person comes in and says, I want 30 kilowatts?
Well-
I mean, not, and again, with the
If they've got a
one,
big enough roof, I guess I'd be okay with it.
Yeah,
have
most
to have-
most people don't
You have to
buy
have a
that much
massive-
extra
No, I
because it's so
understand. I'm just
expensive.
playing
But
devil's advocate
I
here.
understand.
But you are right. The next size, the mid-size, is 100 kilowatts or less.
that's what I,
So we go from 10 to 100, then to 1 megawatt.
right, which doesn't make sense. So, you know,
I think as long as it's still limited, like as long as the exception is just for rooftops, like most people don't have room on their roof. I've never seen someone have room on their roof for 30 kilowatt system. So
Yeah.
the roof limits people anyway. The ground mount, I totally understand because the sky could be the limit there. But with the roof, that usually naturally limits people just because of how much size they're working with. So I don't think it would really get out of hand.
yeah,
Um,
I just.
and
used their-
Plasso, yeah, yeah.
But that is the only concern that I have. And if we say, then it's conditioned upon, you know,
What is the size of the unit that's going to be put in here?
Sorry, what was that?
So what is the size of the unit that will be used in this home?
Like in square footage?
The wattage,
The wattage will probably come out about 14 kilowatts.
14
Because it
kilowatts.
is going to be a little smaller than our initial application just because our panels changed.
Okay. So if we were to make the exception to be the 15 kilowatts, that would be for this house, and then again, this house only.
Yeah.
And the next person would have to come back and still have to make a
Right.
justification.
None of our variances apply to other people. It's a
right, it's strictly here.
single use.
Doesn't mean that it wouldn't
Stop.
come in before us.
Doesn't mean
though,
someone
you know.
can't come
Right.
in and say, I
"Oh,
saw this and you
right.
did this.
That's correct.
But we'd also have to analyze that on its own merits. But
Right.
would it, if we were to add a condition that this particular system were not allowed to be expanded unless the zoning codes were changed to meet something larger than what you're proposing,
So you mean
Would that-
expanding it beyond the initial
Beyond-
design?
the initial design, would that be acceptable?
That would be acceptable as long as we were allowed to use the front face of the roof.
Right, well, and you're.
You mean as a
you're-
separate
you-
project?
You're limiting yourself right now to, the design says 714.8 square foot, 15.3 kilowatt.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what you're applying for.
Yep, we won't ask for more than that.
And so we could actually add a condition saying that this system should not be expanded in the future unless zoning is changed to allow it.
That would be okay with us, yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
And just for the record too, if it helps you guys with like peace of mind with people not getting too out of hand, for residential solar, we also put the application into Eversource. And Eversource has a limit on how much we can oversize the system too. So they don't let people do more than double what their current usage is. So there already is a limit that's being applied to residential solar systems too. So they can never have more than twice as much of what they used in the prior year.
They don't want competitors.
Huh?
They don't want any competition.
Who does? Eversource?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Too much excess electricity that they're not getting paid for.
Yeah. We'll see. Who knows? I feel like they're still collecting somehow.
Okay. Is there anyone speaking in opposition to this application? Okay, the silence is deafening. Okay, Shay, are there any letters or emails received about the application?
No.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any additional comments or rebuttals for any of the, or about the comments that have been made so far?
Nope. I appreciate everyone's time. And as someone that grew up in the town, I definitely appreciate the attempt to protect the town and how it appears and how we present ourselves. And I'm definitely in favor of those motions when they make sense. And then I definitely appreciate the opportunity for the variance because definitely feels very unsupportive of the people that live in the town and what they need and honoring their needs. So we definitely appreciate the chance to be heard here tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so closing the public hearing as of now. The discussions now will be solely within the board. There'll be no further interface with the audience or yourself.
Sure. Sit down.
Yeah, you can sit down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
I put a motion to vote on it.
So we have to add if we do want to put a restriction, we have to add that as the motion.
okay, what type of,
I would just say something of the sort of that the approved system approved by this variance may not be expanded in the future unless zoning regulations are changed to allow that. Does that sound? I mean,
that's
no lawyer, but
sounds, what we discussed before and we discussed with Chloe. Any other comments or? Okay, now can we hear the official motion for the minutes, please?
I'm still writing the
Okay,
condition.
okay.
And if it doesn't sound right, feel free to chime in. I move to grant the request for a variance from Article 15A, Section 220-108.1 to allow for a 714.8 square foot roof-mounted solar array of 15.3 kilowatts for the property located at 3 Crystal Hill Road, as noted in the zoning board application number 26-01 in the legal notice, with a condition that the system as approved may not be expanded in the future unless zoning regulations are changed to allow such expansion.
Okay. Okay, do we have a second?
Did you have me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. You have to speak a little louder.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Okay, Shay, would you please call the vote?
Ryan LeBrecq,
Yes.
Jim Unger,
Yes?
Jason Orsini,
Yes.
Teresa Kane,
Yes.
Michael Murray.
Yes.
All right, the vote is 5-0-0 and the motion passes.
Okay. Now, there's what, a 30-day waiting period after the variance is granted to give people a chance to, I guess, appeal the decision of the board. So they believe that the construction work would have to wait, and granting of the work order or the building permit would take effect after that 30 days.
Mr. Chair, the board needs to make findings related to the variance criteria.
I'm sorry?
The board needs to make findings related to each of the variance criteria.
Yeah, we voted too soon.
Go back to that original
Other
something
phrases.
like this, right?
We just have to go down the 5 criteria, Michael.
I'm sorry?
We have to go down the 5 criteria.
Oh, we have to go down
Yeah,
one by
we kind
one?
of voted out of order.
Okay. Sorry, first time here.
Yep, I know how you're feeling.
Okay, on the first criteria, the proposed variance will not be contrary to the public interest.
I kind of agree with what she put. It's a simple rooftop system like many other systems. It's certainly not going to be an eyesore. I don't see how it could be contrary to public interest. Anyone else?
Just going green, which is good,
Yep.
taking off the grid a little bit.
Okay. The spirit and intent of the ordinance is preserved because,
I think it's still a residential solar system. It's still on the roof.
it does not have any ground.
There's no ground mount portions of it, right? So again, non-issue in my opinion.
Okay. No one else? There is substantial justice in granting the variance because,
I don't think there's any gain or any positive or negative to the public. Only positive to the applicant, which is appropriate in my opinion.
It's a reasonable request.
I'm sorry,
Reasonable request.
reasonable request, okay. The values of the surrounding properties will not be diminished because,
It has no effect on surrounding properties.
Yeah, I mean, solar's common these days. I mean, if your next door neighbor has solar panels on the roof, it shouldn't diminish your property.
and I believe it's a 2.4 acre property,
On a dead end, it looks like too.
yeah, in abutting Atkinson.
Okay, it goes into Atkinson.
No,
There's other houses over there. I don't know.
yeah,
I haven't been on the road.
I haven't.
Maybe I have.
You're up.
I drive around aimlessly sometimes, but I don't know the road.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm not worried about Atkinson.
Okay, liberal enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would result in an unnecessary, literal enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship.
I
Yeah, I think
don't see how
I think it would be.
limiting the output, how it affects the ordinance, in all honesty. It'll only affect them by not being able to generate as much power as they would like to.
Yeah, I think we meet that requirement.
And the proposed use is a reasonable one,
For sure.
is a standard roof mounted installation in the residential home.
All right. Do we need to vote again?
No.
Okay.
No, we shouldn't.
Here, we were just going over the reasons for the vote.
Yeah, normally we deliberate and do this first
Right.
and talk about it a bit, but we kind of talked about it during the meeting. But we do have to do these
We
5
have to do
findings.
this, and this way it's clear for whenever we do the 5-day notice.
I mean, if it makes it cleaner, we can vote again. I don't know if it makes it a cleaner case or not, to tell you the truth. Shouldn't be.
I don't think so unless anyone on the board has objections to any
Yep.
of the
Yep.
findings made.
No objections.
No?
Moving on. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yep. Okay. Okay, the next item on the agenda is an alternate member application review. We've received 3 applications from residents to become alternates to the ZBA. One said, Mr. Belo said he could attend this meeting, so we'd like to have you come forward and introduce yourself to the board. State your name and address for the record.
Sorry, my back's bothering me a bit. Your rot's getting old, as Mr. Murray at least knows. My name's Peter Belo. I live at 82 Sweet Hill Road, Plastow, New Hampshire, of course.
Okay, does the board have any questions for Mr. Belo, for Peter?
Sure. So you were on the board previously, correct?
For about 20 years.
What led to departure from the board?
When the town voted to make it an elected position, I chose not to participate in that.
Okay.
Any particular reason why?
Of course, wasn't random. I'm generally against the election of judges. I think when you're, and this is quasi-judicial, people are judges. When people run for an office, when you're a judge, there's a temptation, I'm not saying anybody here would do it, but there is a temptation to make promises to people, to take particular stands. And I don't think judges should be doing that. I think they should hear each case before them straight away.
Do you feel as though the way you departed was beneficial to the zoning board, though?
I think it was irrelevant to the zoning board.
Mr. Unger might have a different opinion on that.
Well, it put me in a position I didn't necessarily want to take, but I had to take. It's just like when I became, a den leader, a scoutmaster, a committee chairman on the Boy Scouts. You don't always want to do that, but someone's got to step up and do it, or it doesn't get done.
It put people in positions that
I'm-
weren't comfortable.
I'm just, right, exactly. I'm not comfortable leading meetings and such, whereas he was
Although you did a really good job, Jim.
for the whole 2 or 3 meetings I had.
Absolutely.
So if the alternate was a voted position, you wouldn't be interested?
I wouldn't be here.
Gotcha. Okay.
So.
We currently
I guess-
only have one voted member, publicly voted member, right? 2?
I'm
Both of you?
voted.
That's right, you won this year too.
Weren't you?
No, I was appointed.
You were appointed last?
When you left, I think.
Okay.
Or one of us. Either Jason or I filled that spot. I don't
No, the
remember.
only 2 that were on the ballot, well, only Michael was on the ballot. Teresa was a writer.
I was-
Yeah, but she got
Yeah.
votes.
Yeah.
So you both got votes.
Yes.
Yes.
The rest of us are bums.
Yes. Put us through
I'm
that.
speaking for myself.
Well, I think Peter's more than qualified for what we need to do, and he could actually give us a good amount of insight in certain areas.
I'm sure there's a wealth of experience for sure. I just, the way in which the departure was to me seems, to want to come back after departing seems,
It's more like willing to help the board and the citizens of this town. As you know, obviously it's a 5-member board, but you can meet if there's only 4 of you, or if there's only 3. But the RSAs require that to pass a variance, allow a variance. For instance, you have to have 3 positive votes. So if there's only 3 of you, it's got to be unanimous. If there's only 4 of you, it could be a minimum of 3-1. The bylaws state that in the case of a 4 or 3-member board, the applicant has the option of delaying their case till the next time the board can get all 5.
right.
Without prejudice, of course. And it just delays people. So you need alternates.
Well, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have alternates, not
No, and
at
I
all
agree,
saying
I agree. I agree with you,
Yeah.
Ryan. I'm not saying that we shouldn't either. I think I agree with you on the taste that was left in my mouth after seeing certain things. But, the wealth of knowledge is there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do have pause on certain things, but, that's neither here nor there, I guess.
So if you had to do it all over again, would you stay on? Do you miss it? Is that the reason you're going to come back, or would you
No.
still take the same ideological?
I'm fairly
Understand.
consistent ideologically. I don't blow in the breeze.
Yeah,
So
fair enough.
Confused on why voting or appointing was like what? What's
I'm sorry.
The voting versus being voted in or elected, or I'm confused on what your qualm is with that.
Candidates up for election often make promises,
Yep.
and I don't believe a judge should make promises. They should be able to hear each case as it comes up individually with no preconceived promises to the public on how they vote on things,
Okay.
what outlook they'd have,
So if-
other than following the law.
Sure. So if you got voted in, you believe that you wouldn't be able to do that?
Oh, I'm good with it, but I just don't believe the ZBA should be voted in for that reason.
Okay.
And the other thing, and you guys will learn this too soon enough, after you've been on the ZBA for long enough, and long enough could be just a year, by the way, you can make decisions that are the right decisions, and you start having people or applicants who've lost, basically, be upset for years, many years. And I just am not up to putting out signs for jobs that get people upset at you periodically. I just don't need that. So take it or leave it. Those are my reasons.
If seeing your name in Facebook complaining about what you did,
Yeah.
even though you felt you did the right thing
Yeah.
for the town.
But if you're following the law of what our bylaws are, then,
Well, I know,
but
but
then you
like I
need a thicker
said,
skin to
exactly.
be here.
Right, exactly.
But if you're on
You
the board,
just
no
need to
matter
get-
what, aren't you, no matter what, if you're on voted or not on voted, you're still, what's the difference?
Yeah.
You're
Or
still
you just
getting,
need to be like me, just get
complained.
banned from all the pages, so you can't see any comments anyway. It doesn't matter.
No, I
So you really don't care.
My home state, where I lived in the county, all the county judges were done by election. And there were a few that kind of, I don't want to say followed in but there were a few that were definitely biased as far as, the contributors.
Yeah, but playing devil's advocate, I mean, any one of us could,
Oh, any one of them.
anyone can approach us at any point in time. And
That's
if we don't,
correct.
if we're not of certain moral character,
That's correct.
that can happen regardless of whether you're voted or not.
Happen in everyday
And
life.
the other, devil's advocate is staying in, I think, in all of government, there should be turnover, and there shouldn't be a case where someone is, Congress is a perfect example.
Supreme Court.
Shouldn't be on it should be term limits, period.
I
And I
agree.
think any board should have, I mean, we don't have term limits per se, but by creating it by making it a vote, although Congress is a vote as well, I understand. They spend most of their time campaigning. By creating it a vote, there's a possibility that the public can create that turnover. Whereas appointed, the board doesn't roll over unless someone decides to move on.
In the past, so they were 3-year appointments. And in the past, I'm not going to name names, but I know of at least one ZBA member who was not reappointed by the board, by the select board. It
Yeah,
happened.
it could happen.
Right.
Understood.
But I think another concern when it became an elected position was that we literally sat here for years and years and years asking for people to step up and join the board. And
Understood.
if we had 1 or 2 alternates in the 6 years or whatever I've been here, that would have been a lot. I started off as an alternate.
And that's just because I twisted your arm.
Right. So then we got to the point where like, okay, well, if this has to go for election, even this time around, Michael was on because he was renewing his term. The other one was open.
Yeah.
And if you have someone every year run for something that they don't really want to learn about, they're just more interested in getting a position, it kind of puts us in a bad place because there's a lot of stuff here that we have to know to make the correct decisions. Because we didn't have a whole lot of turnover on the board in the past, but we didn't have excess people.
Yeah, I think some of that is public. I mean, a lot of people probably don't even know what this board does.
Right.
Unfortunately, unless they're needing the services of it,
Yeah.
then they get educated.
And actually, that's something I did. Jim will testify to this, I think, on a number of occasions when this board has had applicants that had what I'll call a good head on their shoulders, could present well, made a logical case. After the case was over, as they're walking out the door, I'd say, we need alternates.
Yeah.
And so
No,
it was difficult.
It doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the citizens petition has 56 signatures on it. I was hoping when I went to vote, there would be more names that run for it than Michael, because 56 people at least, and hundreds when they voted, felt the board had to be changed. But then nobody really put their name on the ballot. So it can put the board in a rough spot.
But we have a full board.
And we
Right,
do have a
yes.
full board,
We
but
have a full
in that same light though, Jim, it can put the board in a rough spot, but we're talking about the what ifs if we only had 3 people here, and you'd all have to vote, but we can always table something also. I guess for me, I'm not an appointed type person. I agree with Ryan in the sense that there should be terms on everything. The Supreme
Yeah.
Court, the Congress, everything.
Keep in mind, a lot of the people that come to us aren't the big corporations. They're the homeowners that want the ADU for grandma to move into or something. And we've had times where we've had to table something and people walk out of here crying because we're delaying them now for
Absolutely.
more months.
And unfortunately, that's the nature,
Right.
and then, hey, we had an applicant for an alternative that almost took, what did I say, 10 months, 6 months to get, even looked at. So I'm for the alternatives. I guess I have some concerns in regards to wanting to be an alternative now as opposed to having the position before and leaving it abruptly or not putting your name on the ballot. I guess that's my concern.
Well, I told you why I wasn't going to do
No,
that.
I-
If you guys want to deliberate this, let me go and deliberate and Shake and just let me know your decision.
Now, how
And
does-
by the way, you can't just table an application. You have to have a reason that's legitimate, like we need legal advice.
I understand.
Okay.
how does this, I mean, previously, the selectmen made the final decision. Is that still how it works?
Yes.
Right. So basically, we'd be making a decision to send Peter to the selectmen, and they'd have their final decision.
Correct. You'd be making a recommendation to the
send
selectmen.
to the
Until this is
selectmen.
a fully elected board, that would be the process.
Right, okay. All right, I'm fine.
So does this go to selectmen regardless of the vote?
What the vote is?
It goes as recommended or not recommended? Does it still ultimately go to the selectmen?
Yeah.
It has to go.
So I think it
I believe the
has
selectmen
to,
have the
because
final
we've received an
decision.
application, and so it would still move forward to them.
Okay.
Because basically, you have to go in front of you should have gone in front of the selectmen, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, exactly. So you
I
have to
wasn't an
go in
alternate though.
Well, either way, you still have to go in front of the
Yeah.
selectmen. Yeah. All right, I'm fine.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Before I leave, I don't know if you read my application, but
did.
I'm the vice chair of the Energy Committee, and I didn't testify tonight in favor of this thing because the Energy Committee did not vote to authorize me to testify for the Energy Committee. So I thought coming up here would not be appropriate. But I like their application. And ultimately, the planning board has to come up with or approve of that zoning change that she was talking about. The Energy Committee is just writing a proposal to send to the planning board for their perusal. And the original one, I had to do research on this stupid thing. The original zoning was based on the New Hampshire, what the heck called something, Alternative Energy Committee, and from 2018, and their original proposed ordinance had the 10 kilowatts, 100 kilowatts, 1 megawatt in it way back when, and it has changed. There's a new version that's out as of, I'm not sure if it was 2025 or early 2026, but that eliminates size and it eliminates kilowatt hours.
Yeah, makes sense.
All they suggest is that it should be, within the setbacks. They just have a setback limit.
But they must have, they don't even have a physical size limit?
Yeah, within the setbacks.
So if somebody wanted a 10,000 square foot within the setbacks, that's fine?
Well, yeah, and
Okay, that's weird.
I'm not advocating it. I'm just saying what their recommendation is. Like for me though, I've got 144,000 square feet property, so 10,000 square feet on that is not all that big.
Right.
And also, I'm also
It had to be approved by the utility. Is that really true? Why should the utility be able to?
well, she quoted Eversource.
Couldn't connect it into the utility system.
System, because she's net metering.
So they only allow a certain size.
Yeah, they don't want to.
Because they don't want
too much free energy.
They don't want competition.
Paying other people.
Yeah. They don't want competition.
Yeah.
Which I think is un-American. But anyway.
And to the point about trying to get extra people on committees, when Chloe came to the Energy Committee last month, it was clear she knew what she was doing, and she had a good head on her shoulders. And we asked if she would be interested in being on the committee, and she has since sent in the application, I'm told.
Well, that's
So-
a benefit. Something out of it.
So anyhow, you folks have a good night.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hope you're feeling better.
I'm sorry, what?
Hope your back feels better.
One of these days.
Just take it easy.
Okay, moving on to other business.
Well, we have to vote.
I'm sorry.
We have to vote on if we want to send
deliberate
him
at all?
to then we have to deliberate.
Yeah.
I mean, just my own opinion, I see it as a no-brainer because there's so much knowledge there of what we're doing.
I've never been, I guess, when somebody was, in that position being interviewed. So if that's the case, okay, what do we do? Someone want to make a motion?
Well, to me, from a deliberations perspective, I just have I just have an issue with quitting and then coming back in any capacity.
And
That's just my,
and I'm with Ryan on that.
regardless, I understand there's wealth of knowledge. I'm not saying that there
If
would be
you,
benefits of
if you
that.
saw his resignation letter, he basically said he
I did.
didn't really want to deal with the election process, training new people, but he also gave the selectmen a lot of advice on the type of people to try to get that are going to show some interest and educate themselves and such like that. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm out of here, goodbye.
No,
I
but,
think it was.
but and I respect that, Jim. And I respect his knowledge because he does have the well. It's
Yeah.
no different than Tim, you know, in the sense that you can't, they probably know more than, they've probably forgotten more than we'll ever
Oh, for
know.
sure.
But the fact that you, in the midst of it, because you didn't like what was going to happen, to get up and kind of say, I'm taking my toys and go home, doesn't sit well, because we're supposed to be, one, stronger than that in the sense that we're going to have people that aren't happy. We're going to have things that are going to make people quite upset, as you said, walking out of here. And I don't know if, but I guess at the end of the day, if it goes to the selectmen anyway, it's a moot point.
Right. Because they may say, hey, you sent us this letter a year ago or whatever, and that's all there is to it.
Well, I think there's a difference with, I have an ideological issue about running for this or this being a voted position and stating that I don't intend to run for this when because everyone had an appointment, right?
Mm-hmm.
When my appointment is up, I'm done.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to run for it. There's a big difference between that and just leaving.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I understand. I just have a fundamental disconnect with
Me too.
that. That's all. Nothing against experience or any of that nature. I think it's just the method in which the departure was just doesn't sit well. Given that could have stayed through the end of his,
Right.
and I don't know if he would have stayed, maybe I wouldn't even be here. I don't know. Maybe it gave me an opportunity that I wouldn't have had otherwise, potentially, but it doesn't sit well.
Yep.
That's all. So I guess we vote on it, and then it goes to the selectmen. Either way.
I assume we probably need some sort of motion. I move that we vote to send Peter Biello to the selectmen for consideration as an alternate member.
Or would we say, vote to say we, have a favorable or non-favorable, send them to the selectmen and say our recommendation is yes or no?
I think if we don't, I could be
I
wrong.
don't-
How does that work, Shay?
I could be wrong, but
Typically-
I think if we don't vote in favor, it doesn't go, does it? I don't know.
I don't know how it's been done in the past, but typically these motions are made in the affirmative. So you would say, I recommend appointing such and such for the position, and then that vote will be in there, and there will be a memo written up on behalf of the board that goes to the selectmen, and the minutes can be attached as well so that they can review what the deliberations were.
Yeah.
So just make sure I try to understand, would do our vote, and whatever the, results of the vote are, would report that to the selectmen.
But I guess what I don't understand, why wouldn't it, so we're just kind of here.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the selectmen have, they're the only ones that have the authority to appoint anyone to these positions.
I understand that, but if we're here to decide whether we want somebody to be an alternate in whatever your vote is, whether it's yes or no or abstain, whatever, it's almost a moot point because you can be overridden. And then is there tension with that, however you vote?
Yeah.
So I think what Shay said is probably I think she indicated that until everyone on the board is voted,
Says,
it goes to the selectmen.
okay. Oh,
Once
gotcha.
everyone on the
You
board
did.
is
So, yeah,
voted,
once everyone's been voted in,
Okay.
then
Yeah.
it'll be the
then we're
board
a
decides.
voted public body that can make our own decisions
So this is just
without
an
mom and
interim
dad overriding us.
process.
Gotcha.
But you'll still have alternates once everyone's voted in. So this process will go on.
Yeah, but I think at that point, because everyone's voted in, we can vote to either approve or deny an alternate, and it's our decision as a board, as opposed
It's going to
to
have to be in writing somewhere.
I
going
was gonna
to.
say,
It's gonna
is
have to
there-
be-
Is there any?
That is
Oh, there's probably
correct.
nothing.
Yeah. So like the planning board is a fully elected board.
Right.
And so they can appoint their own alternates. It doesn't have to go, they don't recommend approval or such to the select board. And so
Okay.
once this is a fully elected board, you guys will be able to appoint your own alternates at your own meetings. So it'll be a
Okay,
much simpler
so
process.
That should be
when
written in
your
some sort of
term's done
bylaws or
and Your
something.
term's done, when your term's done, that's,
Soon.
Well, whenever, we're going to be here for the 3 years,
You're
whenever
voted.
the other ones.
oh, right.
I think my term's up in a year. This year is the last, maybe. So then I'd have to run,
You'd have to run.
and I'd have to
Right.
get voted back in
Right.
if I'm to stay. So once we're replaced by voted members, whether it's us or others, then we can
Gotcha.
select our own alternates.
Gotcha. Okay.
Jim, it's
via
written in the
majority.
RSAs that way. It just hasn't been
Okay.
reflected in the ZBA bylaws because I don't think these have been updated since the board switched to being an elected board.
Okay. Yeah, so that should all be updated.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So we need to make an emotion. I'll make a motion to approve.
Yeah, we make all of our motions in the positive sense.
I make a motion to recommend Mr. Belo as an alternate to the ZBA.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Is that, so we don't get,
Yeah, we're going to vote.
oh,
I was
okay.
Now we're
waiting
gonna
for- I was waiting for your Shay to
I feel
finish
like we're going- Oh,
typing.
sorry, Shay. You're not
Okay.
faster than that?
Jay, will you call the roll,
I
please?
was, you got it. See, that's the cue I was waiting
Yeah.
for.
Okay.
Jim Unger,
Yes.
Jason Orsini,
Yes.
Teresa Kane,
No.
Michael Murray,
Yes.
and Ryan LeBrecq.
No.
Right. So the vote is 3-2-0.
Okay,
Okay.
moving on.
Okay. And then on the other business,
Do we have any old business? I don't think we do.
well, I guess part of this is sort of older business,
Old, new,
older combination.
old and new
You
business.
know, I mean, we have Teresa's recent letter as well as the last letter and the discussions we were had before concerning the, ways of working. And the bylaws.
So there's two letters?
Well, we have the original, the one that Shay sent out, what was it, 2 days ago, or,
April 29th.
okay, and.
That was my first one.
That's the first one. yeah.
That's the first one, and then was one sent the day after we had the agenda for this meeting.
Right.
She sent out the second one.
Do we have a copy of that one too?
You should have got an email on it.
I don't have my copy,
Um,
so I can't share.
So the one in the
I
email is
believe I
the
put
second.
copies of it in the packet.
Yeah, here,
Is that-
that should be the second one. What's the name on that? May?
You just have that one. I can print off another copy.
26. Okay.
Is anyone else missing a copy of that one?
Let me make sure. I may have missed it.
I got 2 of the April 29th. And
But the other one is May 26th.
429 and 526.
we just need one copy of that, or is anyone else?
I didn't bring my copy either, so.
I think I need a copy too.
I don't have a copy of the most recent. I have the earlier, I have
My
two copies of the
apologies, I
earlier
thought
one
I had thrown those in there.
for some reason.
You know, grab a few copies.
Yeah, I will be right back with those.
I thought I could find it, but
Uh,
thank you.
I gave mine to Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So if everybody's had a chance to read what I've put here on paper, I think this all goes back to the last meeting in respect to how the bylaws, and maybe I'm being too literal with some of the slides that I saw, I don't know. I am very black and white, there's not a lot of gray area, but I do think that there's some discussion that should be definitely, because looking back on the last meeting, I shouldn't have abstained. If I'm reading everything correctly.
One question.
Sure.
Did you watch the video of that meeting that
I
we
did.
booked? Okay.
I did. I
So
watched
then,
it 3
yeah.
times.
Okay, so then, yes.
Yeah.
If you had not watched that, I
Absolutely.
would say you should abstain. But since
Absolutely,
you
and I
did
agree.
watch it,
I agree. And again, being new, I'm not certain that I'm always accurate on what I'm seeing or hearing in the sense of not knowing what I don't know. But going back to the training and going back to watching that I should have been probably a little bit more forceful in the sense that I felt as though I was right and I didn't do what I thought I should have done. I do still believe that there are some things that need to be looked at in the bylaws that really should be addressed. And as we discussed in the last meeting, I feel as though even though we don't have an applicant before us, and maybe not every time meet, but that's our duty. That's what we have agreed to as a monthly meeting. And whether it be looking at the bylaws or seeing if we can improve something else, then that's what we should be doing.
I would say as long as we have something, other than just approving the prior minutes on the agenda with no people, that we shouldn't meet. I'm not sure if the only thing is we had the meeting, although we did go kind of a long period there before we approved the last.
And we lost a potential applicant, a potential alternative. And that's shame on us. And no disrespect to Shay, but she had come in, and so that came in October, and we didn't get it until last month, or she saw it quite after that. So there's things that do fall through the cracks. We're all human, I get it. But if the November meeting had taken place, not only for the minutes that should have been fresh in everybody's mind, for the applicant. Because here we are sitting saying that we don't have, people here wanting to be alternatives, but we did. In by oversight, got missed until April.
Yeah. And again, I don't know how that worked. This is really the first time I heard of that particular thing.
Sure.
Because I wasn't in this position to know about anyone coming in.
Right.
But I can see where if we were to have that and have that, if we have to, I'd say we need to have some order of business to hold a meeting and not just have a meeting to come in and say, hi, we're here, open, close, and let's go home.
I agree with that also, because everybody has busy lives. But I also think that we, as a group who is been chosen by our community, to at least give them some sort of, okay, whether it's quarterly, if we don't have an applicant, I don't know. I don't know the right answer to it.
But you do have there is, every meeting well, not every, I guess, but like next month, if there's no applicant, there is an agenda item, which is reviewing and approving the meeting minutes, right? For this meeting tonight. And I think that's where, maybe if we have a vote like we did tonight, maybe that automatically triggers a meeting next month to approve the minutes. And then after that, if there's none the following month, maybe we don't meet because we didn't have another set of minutes to really approve, other than the minutes we approve the minutes.
Technically,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we don't need to.
it's never ending.
Yeah.
Right. But, just so that anything that when you have the minutes for a decision, that, there's less time between
Yes.
when we're voting on them.
But we
And then-
we also need to respond back, because they have 5 days. to
I
get a
understand.
draft of minutes. So we have to respond back to let her know if there's going to be changes.
Yeah, we also need to prioritize looking at the meeting minutes and, but we should establish that too, like in the processes. We should have, all right, we had a meeting, there was a decision. So now a notice of decision needs to be drafted and we need to include the minutes with that. So within certain many days after this meeting, we would all receive the meeting minutes to review. We're to respond within 24 hours, whatever it is. Just lay out a little timeline, an SOP, if you will, for
Hard stuff.
how this goes. And then, if we don't respond, if I don't respond with any, then that's
And then-
deemed.
Is that,
Right.
well, let's see. Now, it raises a question for me when we say the 5 business days. Town doesn't work only 4 days. Shay only works here 4 days a week. So,
working
you're
days.
talking the 5 normal
It's a whole
work
other
week
issue,
days. Yeah, but it's,
Yeah,
it could be knocking the day off
well,
or adding a day.
5 business days technically would mean Monday through Thursday plus Monday,
Yeah, but if we
The
say
following
business,
Monday.
if we say business days.
if it's business days.
Yeah, but we haven't, in current
Well, that's RSA required, right? The 5 days.
5 days, but it doesn't say whether it's
Doesn't say business or
days
not.
or not.
It's basically a draft has to be posted, not final minutes. A draft has to be posted within 5 business days, I believe.
Yeah, and the notice has to go out within the 5 business days to the people.
So the other question on the notice, so in the last notice of decision, Shay was here as well. Shay, are you producing the notice of decisions now? Is
Yes.
that, so the notice of decision is going to come from you? I think that the decision is the board. So in my opinion, someone on the board, the chair, probably should be signing the notice of decision,
Okay.
reviewing and signing.
I've already had that discussion with Shay, and I
Okay.
told her I'm available, I'm retired. I might go out of town, or do something for my wife for a day trip or something, but I'll be here. Or if I won't be here, I'll let her know.
And I have no problem with, provided, I'm not, obviously, to get the whole board to review and comment may not be reasonable in 5 days. But
Yeah,
but the other thing is, I think the board needs to receive the notice of decision as well. In the last one, I had to ask for it.
So why don't we receive it?
it's a
I
good
mean,
question.
theoretically, we could all receive a draft as well. It'd be no different.
I mean, at the
Then,
end of the
then the
day,
meeting
it's
minutes.
Michael's name on
Yeah.
it.
But,
Well, true.
I mean, it's.
Why put the onus all on just one person?
Well, I
been-
agree.
Yeah, I've been here for 4 years, and I've never even seen one of these notice of decisions.
Is there any reason?
Well, that's a problem. That's a problem, I think.
I never knew it was a problem before. I just knew that the thing had to go out and it went
Yeah.
out. And
Yeah.
I wasn't,
Is there any reason why it doesn't, Shay?
Not that I know of off the top of my head, but that is a question that I could pose to legal if you would like.
I don't think it needs to go to legal. I think it just,
oh, no.
I think it only helps you. Because the other thing is we're leaning on you to be 100% accurate, which we're all human. We're not going to be 100% accurate. So to have, the meeting minutes go out by X amount of days, the NOD draft go out, to your point, to all of us. Comments have to be back by here. And then you would be the arbiter, I guess, of the comments, right?
Yes.
And final, you would review the comments and then
Well,
say, yes, change this or don't change this and sign it.
after the vote, when we went through the, list on here, that's what we were doing, was basically putting up the points for the notice. So that we would have that recorded.
I understand.
Okay.
So now, usually everything comes from you, used to come from D. Should the chairman be copied so that if we have a proposed change, Michael finds out about it without it having to, I just don't know how it's all gonna work.
I was gonna
Oh, I
ask
see.
a
have to
question on
approve.
that.
If you had something, it would go to her and then she'd have to forward it to him.
That's what I'm getting at.
So
'Cause
Shay,
we're
is
not-
there
I know-
any way that you
That
could
can take
do a
time.
Been told
protected
before, we're not supposed to all email each other, because if 3 people get on the
Changes
email,
on
that's an
their
illegal
track.
meeting.
Yeah,
But if everything
With
was copied to
91A,
the
we have
chairman,
to be really careful with electronic
I'm
stuff because you
wondering-
can't
That's
have
not a meeting.
a quorum of the
not
board
a
doing
meeting.
anything together outside of a meeting.
well, she's
Because then it
not,
would be a
She's
meeting.
not
It
a
would have
member.
to be.
No, I know.
But
It'd
it-
be two,
but
it'd be
if
you
it
and
went
him.
from me to
Or me
him-
and him.
and copied to him, it would
Yeah.
only be 2 people, would not be a meeting.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Because I guess otherwise, what would happen is if she sent out all the emails and then she gets an email back from me where I say, oh, Shay, I think this happened, she's going to have to then summarize it to him. So it should maybe all be copied to the chairman.
Any comments
Right,
Any comment?
for both the minutes and the
right.
NOD
Notice, right.
should go to him.
I can see my ZBA
There you
email
go.
file growing.
I mean, some of them are going to be pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
right? You know, I think
But could
it's
that
only-
work of what I just said if they're gonna be copied to Michael? So what I just asked Shay is, could she not do a protected document where we would have the ability to write in comments, track comments? And I haven't done this in a long time, so I could be thinking back in the old days when you could track them and show who the author was on it, and then send it to Michael. Are you following what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, yes. And I was just telling Teresa that my concern with having like some sort of document like that is that it might violate the provisions of RSA 91A, where if you have that much going on outside of a meeting electronically, it might qualify as a meeting if you have more than 3 board members.
So if you had a cloud-based document, you just send us a link, we'd go in, put our comments in the document. That would be,
But it wouldn't change the original document because you'd protect whatever she put. The cow jumped over the
Yeah, it's
moon's
just-
protected.
Yeah.
track changes
Yeah,
document.
but would be have an open forum where we could
That's what
all.
she was,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what she was just saying.
It's something that should probably go through legal and it'll get
I would
jammed
think-
up.
right,
So, I mean,
exactly.
That would probably be a legal
Because you
thing.
don't need anyone to
Yeah.
accuse us of having some sort of electronic meeting.
Right, right. Well, it would make it a lot easier. The world is electronic. Okay.
Well, what if you use Copilot to create your comments? Just kidding.
I don't even know what that is.
AI.
It's AI.
Don't forget that stuff. I avoid
Copilot does some pretty messed up things.
I haven't really used it.
So
honestly.
what was the decision that Shay gives it to Michael and
Now that means, Shay would have to prepare, like, I guess on Monday should have to get that out. And then have to get the comments back. I'd like to get them back on Tuesday if all possible, so not have to read them and contact Shay with any changes and then come down and sign it.
Yeah, well, obviously we have to give her enough time to
do it?
draft the document and send it out, both the minutes and the
Oh, I was
notice
going
of
to say, but
decision.
from past experience, has there ever been a lot of comments? But we don't know because not everyone has ever seen the NOD, right?
No one's been given the opportunity to comment.
Right.
Yeah. But I've,
Can you test run it?
Why does everyone have to see each other's comments?
We don't.
Not each other's comments.
No, not each other's comments.
So why couldn't they?
He was
send-
just saying,
I'm just saying if she sends out a draft of the minutes
Yeah.
and I say, oh, well, I think you need to change this,
Okay,
that means and if she does, all the minutes you saw are no longer valid.
okay.
So in other words, it has to go through
on the minutes, it
somebody
would be-
Yeah.
that says, okay, this is our final version and this is approved. I don't know the best way to do it.
Yeah, I think that the comment should be copied to the chair And then because of the time frame, the chair would just review and approve or deny, and she'll make the changes based on your approval or denial.
That would work, if you're all in agreement with that.
Right. And then at the most, it's only two members, one member at a time sending an email through.
But we
Shay.
don't even have each other's email addresses too. We don't have your email address. We wouldn't need each
Right.
other's.
Don't you get the email from Shay? Isn't my email address on that?
No,
No, and
it's just blind copied.
I was originally told we aren't supposed to copy each other through emails because
Okay,
if three of us get on the same
I never
email,
noticed.
that's now an
So we
illegal
wouldn't
meeting.
need each other's emails. We'd all only need your email.
Right.
Okay, well, that's no problem.
And then it would be, if I have a comment, I'm sending it to Shay and I'm copying you so you're visible. So there's only two members of the board that are seeing it.
Right.
And the only email that anyone else has of
I mean,
each
if-
other's is yours.
If he's copied on her email, when we reply, he's gonna,
He's going to see it.
I'll see it, yeah.
True, if she includes him on copy.
right, she has to copy him
Yeah.
on the emails to us.
That's
And
true.
when we reply to her, he's gonna get the
That would
same
be- that would
email
be
and
fine.
see
Yeah.
what comments we're talking about.
Yeah.
So the only change would be that Shay would copy you
Yeah.
when she sends the minutes to
I'm
us.
gonna be glad you're retired.
I don't
Are
think
there
so.
really that many comments, do we think? I mean,
Usually.
well, you can see from
We've
my
never done
letter.
it
Yeah,
before.
we've never done it. So, and from what my letters say, then there probably would be, because I'm trying to learn.
That's okay. That's okay. I was
So
nice
let's
to ask questions.
Maybe we need to hammer out a timeline. So the
Right.
meeting's tonight. So theoretically, not theoretically, we need to provide a response 5 days from today or from tomorrow? They start tomorrow?
Oh, it's Friday.
Well, tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow's Friday.
Is
Not
it
a
business or
Friday.
business
Not
days
on-
is the first
not a business
question.
I would think it's a business days. It
Right.
would have to be. So tomorrow doesn't count. What's your take on that? Does tomorrow count or not?
From what I've been told, and it's in the RSAs, is that Friday does count as a business day. So even though I'm not
Even
working,
though you're not working,
I,
it's a
I
business
lose
day.
a day in time.
Okay, so Friday counts. So so Friday, Monday, Tuesday,
We'd have to-
Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday, it's due to them, right? If I close a business, 5 PM. Does that close a business? Whatever, 4 PM, 5 PM, whatever.
Do you
5
miss-
PM is close of business, right? So Thursday at 5,
Michael has to have had everything to him.
Well, by Thursday at 5.
she it has to be out the door.
It's supposed to be,
Yes,
right.
so in order to, how long do you think you need realistically to draft minutes and draft the NOD?
NOD is typically pretty quick. Minutes take longer because I have to go back and listen to the whole recording.
Yeah,
Tuesday, does Tuesday work?
well, if it's there by Tuesday, that only gives a day for, that's probably not enough time. Probably Monday.
Could we,
Because Monday they would go out, say Monday, close of business, they go out. We'd have an opportunity 24 hours, like Tuesday, close of business, we have to have comments back. He reviews them on Wednesday, gives you direction to update them so you can send it on Thursday.
And
That's what I'm thinking.
yeah,
Does that seem reasonable?
although I would like to perhaps just check with the attorney to make sure about the five
The 5
business days. Since,
Yeah,
because I don't want, I'd like that extra day if we can.
if you can
squeeze
get
in.
it, why wouldn't you?
So do we need to respond, no comment, if we have no comment, or to just no
You
response?
just
if
say,
no comment?
well. if you
Either
don't-
or,
Yeah.
I think,
I usually just looks good and
Yeah.
send it back.
Preferably if you've read it, a quick note back, say, okay.
just acknowledgement you've seen it.
Right.
Yeah,
We're not waiting on
otherwise,
any further comments.
otherwise we're waiting, is this going to send
Well,
it to us?
if you miss the boat, you miss the boat.
Oh, I know if you miss the
Right.
vote, but if I get all, if we get all the comments back on Tuesday,
Right.
we can get it out a little bit faster.
Right, no, what I'm saying is if you all of a sudden get an email back on Thursday that says, oh, sorry, didn't see your email, well, sorry, you missed the boat.
Yeah, well, that
We
one,
have to
yeah.
have a deadline as well.
Yeah, they have, yeah, you have to have a deadline to get back.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know about everybody, but I unfortunately have to check my emails about 15 times a day. So,
With
Yeah,
you.
I don't monitor, I have to start monitoring the box.
yeah, days I'm in the
that's
field, I only check it when I get home. But
going-
days when I'm
Three
working at
emails,
home,
That's the problem.
it just dings all day.
Does that make sense, Shay?
It does.
Okay. So why don't, if you could, just write up a procedure for that, we can take a look at it. And then if one decides if it's going to work well, we can put that, go through the procedure, because we have to have a notice and then another meeting to have it second time to actually put it into the bylaws. But let's give it a trial run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's pretty much what it is right now.
Yeah.
Trial and run.
So Monday, minutes and NOD. Tuesday, close of business, comments from the board. Wednesday, comments back from you to Shay. Shay updates Thursday morning and sends it out.
Yeah, the only thing you're gonna.
Or
have-
earlier if we can.
Right, if you
can.
can. The only thing you're gonna have a discrepancy on is if, same goes back to my letter. I thought something or heard something or seemed something different than what was actually voted on.
Well, that's going to be at the discretion of the chair at that point.
Yeah,
Thanks.
okay.
I mean,
Yeah, we have to, but
With the 5
I'm
day-
very open, I have no problems with talking to anyone here, even though I don't like to talk in groups, but this is a small enough group, it's not a problem.
No.
You can always work things out some way, somehow.
There's usually solutions
Yeah.
to most problems. There are.
Just keep a
the
cool
response can't be the response I get to RTKs, which is we respond to you in 5 days and we need another 2 weeks.
I don't think that's gonna work.
That only works if it's I digress.
And yes, you do. And the only other thing that I really kind of want to talk about, and I'm sorry guys, but Jim looks at his emails when he gets home from work. I'm looking at mine at 3:30 in the morning. When something is sent to Shay, I feel as though it should be distributed accordingly, especially if I am addressing it to fellow members. Most of the time, it's trying to clarify things in my head or say, am I looking at this the right way? Is this, do we all agree with this? Or how, is this something that we should be looking at going forward? I don't want to be, writing novels, but in the same sense, there are questions that I do have that I think are sometimes important or points that I would like to make that's not going to take up time here in making them. Now, whether and Shay, I don't know this, or Jim, I don't know this, but is all correspondence, if I was sending something that was information only, like, oh, hey, I just saw this, and I thought it would be interesting for the board to see. Does that have to be discussed at the meeting as old or new business?
So like something unrelated to any applications or anything that the board
Correct.
has discussed. So, I would send it to the chair. It wouldn't have to be put on an agenda or discussed. It could be something that the chair says, go ahead and distribute this to the rest of the board.
I mean, historically, when we've had letters, basically, it does get discussed at a meeting because we're all here. And normally, depending on what it is, sometimes the chair would just say, has everyone had a chance to read that letter? yes, we all did. Okay, any comments? And if there's comments or not, and, you know, they don't even necessarily have to read the letter if everyone got a chance to read it
To
in
read.
advance.
And I guess that's my point. If, and then I'll go to the 29th memo that went to you, Jim, but never got out to any of the other board members because of how it was done in the past is not, in my opinion, how it should be done. And that's how we got onto the bylaws.
This was in everyone's packet last month, as far as I know, right?
No.
But I had sent it before
That
that.
day.
I had sent, no,
You
I had sent it long before that.
Oh, I don't think it was.
The
in
first
packet.
letter?
The
First letter
April-
wasn't in the packet last.
First off, my introduction wasn't in anybody's emails. Now, that's irrelevant. I was just kind of saying, hi, I am this, that, and the other thing. This letter didn't go out until after the fact. In due to the fact that I was told that's not how it's been done. It goes to the chair and the chair decides if it goes out or not. Well, and I'm going to go back to last month's meeting. And please, don't anyone get offended by this. I'm an adult. If I think that something as important as this April 29th, as though I felt, should have gone to the board members, I shouldn't have to have Michael, Ryan, you, or Jason say,
Depends on what the rules are.
I think
I don't know what the rules are, to tell
there
you the
is no
truth.
rule saying that it needs to go to the chair. That was the whole discussion last month.
Well, if the thing with two emails on and people on it, if they're trying to decide if that rule, it probably should go to the chair first, and he should kind of disseminate it from there, I would say.
There is no rule in the bylaws that's saying that the chair needs to approve
Well,
what goes
there's no
to the
rules on
board.
any of this. There's also no rules on the notice of decision. There is no rules on the
But-
minutes.
but-
So that's something we have
And
to
I don't
build
want to
going
rehash
forward.
last month's meeting. That's what we do need to go.
Right.
The communication.
Because if you look at the zoning bylaws right here, I mean, it's pretty thin. It doesn't talk about the notice of decision. It doesn't
Correct.
talk about who signs it.
And
It doesn't
right.
talk about the minutes. It doesn't talk about when we get them.
And that's
So that's something that has to be
has to be done.
added.
Right. And I'm just saying,
Yeah.
these were my two kind of things that I would like to address and move forward with in the bylaws.
Right. Well, I think the whole
They're
bylaws
important.
have to be revamped.
I agree with you, Jim. I agree with you totally on that. And hey, this is a learning process for me. The one thing that I in all of my career, I don't do well with, well, that's how it's always been, because that doesn't mean that it's always right.
Yep.
So that's where those come from.
Well, I think as far as revamping the bylaws, that's going to be some sort of workshop that we have to go through. We probably should have some examples of like the planning board bylaws and things like that. We're not going to mimic what they have, but we could possibly get ideas. Then it has to be approved by the legal. Then we have to read the changes for
Oh,
two
yeah,
subsequent
it's not
meetings.
a one-day process.
So we'll
I
be
get
doing
it.
this sometime in November, but
But
definitely.
at least we're doing it.
Because like I said, the whole thing with the notice of decision and all that, none of that's in here at all. And
But
so
am
when
I
you say
crazy
that's
to
how
think
it's
that-
always been done, if Peter was here, he'd probably tell you that's how they did it for 20 years prior.
But again, doesn't mean
Right.
that it was the right way. I mean,
Yep.
and hey, whether people agree or disagree, it's I don't think that these are thin,
Right, very.
and I think that there could be some things added to it, and that's my.
So I think the first step is someone needs to draft something to look at and discuss, as opposed to, or I guess maybe we could have an open discussion on it.
You'd almost have to,
Seems to be more productive if we start with something.
well,
I
there's,
mean, you start with what we have,
Right.
obviously, but
Well,
come with ideas on.
I
how we
would
think it
assume
should
there's absolutely no reason we couldn't all have a copy of the planning board bylaws and see what kind of ideas are in there.
I imagine they're in the online website for the
Yeah.
town.
I would assume.
change. Shay, can you send them to us?
I can send them.
That would be great.
I mean, it's not like we're trying to mimic it, but if they have certain ideas or how,
A starting point.
We could also, not that we should, we could also do some research on what other towns
Are doing.
looks like
And
as
that's what
well.
I do. I go back and, even on this, I went to a couple of different towns to see what the kilowatt usage was for homes and what it is. They should all pretty much be similar
To some extent.
to some
Yes,
extent,
yes.
but it will give us a starting point of where,
Yeah, you don't have to copy what.
no,
other-
you don't.
a lot of towns, I mean, I work all over the place and I was always amazed at like when you drive down the main streets in certain towns, all the shops face the street and they don't look like 125 where you're looking at the back of some buildings and things like that. But if you look at their zoning bylaws, that's all written out everywhere. There's towns, if you go to like Biddeford, Maine, if you put a shopping center, even if all the entrances are on the backside facing the parking lot, guess what? Whole front side looks like entrances too. You're not looking at dumpsters and stuff.
Yeah,
And that's not our concern because that's zoning.
right.
But I'm sure we could have a whole lot thicker bylaws here to tell us in the future how you handle something.
Yep. I'm good.
All right.
Anyone?
No, but I do think to what Teresa is saying that something like this should be shared across. There's no, I mean, we're going to talk about it anyway, so I think the more time people have to review and understand and
To
try-
digest it.
Yeah,
yeah, the better.
And,
They don't see the harm in doing that. Now, with that said, if it's something completely unrelated to the business of the ZBA, then maybe, if I'm sending, just throwing something out there. Got a coupon to Burger King or something. That doesn't need to be shared, right?
Yeah.
There can be some filter.
Yeah.
If it makes no sense,
Right.
like, what is this? This has nothing to do with what we do, fine. But other than that, if it's something relevant to
what's going on here?
what's going on, it should be shared to all members.
Well, thank you.
I don't know if we need to write that into a process or if we need to vote on that or if we just start doing that. I don't know.
Looking at you, Shay.
I mean, if the chair's okay with it, with me sending correspondence that I get out to the full board before you review it. And I spoke with legal about it, and they said that the process has been in the past, again, that everything goes through the chair. Typically for boards and committees, that is how it's done. Again, it helps just sort of filter information. But I think if the chair's okay with that, then we could try that and see how that goes. But I think if we wanted to continue, it is something that would have to be written into the.
yeah, let's give it a shot, see how it works.
Right? And if it doesn't, then we go back.
We find something else that works.
Right.
Or you could do a hybrid where you could send it to him and give him 24 hours to comment, and if you don't get a comment back, then send it to the rest of us. Either or.
You find some page that you could post and we would only have access to it. And
That would be easiest, but
then
I don't know how that would
Yeah.
go with the freedom of information we have to do.
that would be freedom of information.
through the
Yeah,
town.
but-
Post it to the webpage.
Well, I mean, everyone would have to have it, not just
Yeah.
our group.
I understand.
Yeah.
No, but I think we need to write it into the procedure, whatever the procedure ends up
Yes.
being,
Right,
whether it's automatic to everybody or
right. I
a
agree.
little bit of a delay or whether it's to the point last meeting, which was, well, we just got this today. Well, maybe we make it, if you want other members of the board to see it, it has to be submitted by, 24 hours in
And
advance.
I'm guilty of that. I can tell you that.
Or, but we can write that in if we want to.
Yep.
If it's not submitted 24 hours in advance, then it's going to get moved to the next meeting or prepared later or something like that.
Yeah. Because then I think Michael or the chair could make that determination if it was something serious enough
Critical, yeah.
that needed to be
Need to
discussed.
discuss immediately then.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I
And
think
it's
we're all
within
pretty
the-
in.
Yeah,
Intelligent.
within the 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
People.
But it has to be procedural only.
Right,
It can't be anything about a property in town, a case we're
right,
hearing.
right. That's
Can't be
right.
anything.
Yeah.
Right,
Can't even be like, oh, the planning board's making this change. Everyone should know.
right,
We can't,
No,
we
yeah,
can't
that,
deal with any stuff like that.
right.
strictly the business of the zoning board.
Well, not the business of the zoning
Well-
board. It's got to be basically procedural of the zoning board.
Or concerns.
Yeah.
A concern of, no different than my April 29th letter. Jim.
Right, but that is all procedural.
Right, right.
Everything's
And
procedural.
Right, it goes down
Right.
into a standard operating procedure of it, yeah. Okay,
Can we have a procedure to have snacks on hand if the meeting goes over a certain period of time?
Coffee over here. Got a table right
Oh,
there.
there you go. Use the table. It's a symbolic table. Huh? All right.
Yeah, okay, so do we have any other business?
No?
Okay, then I'm adjourning this meeting at 8:28 PM.
Thank you. I'm ready for dinner.